It is 4 o'clock and you are now live.
Thank you very much. Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to our newest board member, Pam Grimm. We'll call the roll.
I will definitely do that.
Chair
We've got
Murphy?
notes for you that you
I'm
can-
here.
Commissioner Palmer, Commissioner Livermore,
Here.
Commissioner Levinson,
Here.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner Grimm.
Here.
Thank you. We usually take our petitioners as they're here. Mr. Kopskill is here, as well as Mr. Normoyle. So we'll take them first, but first let's approve the minutes of the meetings December 3rd, December 10th, and January 7th. Any questions about the minutes? Okay, I make a motion that we approve the minutes of those 3 meetings.
I second.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, go ahead. We can vote on that.
Okay. Chair Murzick,
Yes?
Commissioner Palmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Grimm.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, we did just get an email from Mr. Snyder saying that he also can't be at the board meeting today, and I think we can put his over 1 more month. So I make a motion that we once more table 1012 Forest Avenue. Okay, 1012 Forest Avenue until the March meeting.
I second it.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, we'll vote.
Okay. Chair Murzick,
Yes?
Commissioner Palmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Grimm.
Yes.
Thanks. Do make sure you review those before our next meeting. But then we'll take 34 Center Street. That's snow and ice removal. We have your appeal here. Let me read it for the record. I'm respectfully asking, please, that you consider relieving me of the $68.48 bill for snow removal for my Washington Avenue sidewalk. I've never ever been late nor delinquent ever in the past when it comes to cleaning my sidewalks. I've always tried to keep up with snow removal, and I take pride during all seasons in the care of my house and its premises. With all the snow this past month, it's been difficult since I also help to make sure the sidewalks and driveways are all clear of snow for my 91-year-old grandmother-in-law's house, 32 East Street, and my father-in-law's house, 26 Myrtle Avenue. My other grandparents-in-law's house, Gail and Vincent Foti, Old Road, Southside Drive. Yes, it's totally my fault for not understanding that snow removal was part of the marriage contract when joining my new family. Thank you, Sean. Anyway, during these COVID times, and I realize we're in better position than most families when only my wife, Joanna, has been laid off since March 20th, and I still have my job. Please consider helping, if not requiring us to pay the $68.48 bill. Thank you, Sean Cobstill. Let's look at the pictures. This is a picture of our contractor, and for everyone's information, the city itself cannot shovel the sidewalks because we aren't really permitted to be on private property. So every year we hire a contractor to do the work for us. And this shows the date and the time.
And see what happens.
There's the unshoveled sidewalk at 12:18 p.m. We should have one more photo, I think.
Yeah, the finished product is the photo that we're
That's
missing.
don't look good.
There it is.
I know the situation here, but
Okay, so there's the sidewalk shoveled and then there's the unshoveled.
I had a question about the pictures when I reviewed them. this
Mhm.
morning. So there's a little portion there that's shoveled and then it stops. So, but the fence looks like it goes through the whole way. Is it split property with the same fence?
No,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's one property. That must be the neighbors shoveled a little bit on that portion.
Thank you.
The front yard and back.
And I mean, this is just to give you guys a little bit of context. I have a front walk on Center Street, and this is actually Washington Avenue. So my address is 34 Center Street. I have my front walk that was done. And you guys heard in the letter, I shovel for many, many, many other people. So I honestly, I just must have forgot that day to go back there and shovel in the back for that day, that snowfall that day.
So the front of the house did not get shoveled by the city, quote unquote city, but rather just the side property, which is, I guess, adjacent to your yard then.
Right, just, yeah, my sidewalk, my property goes from Center Street, and I have a double lot, so it goes all the way back to Washington Avenue. So I have two sidewalks to shovel. I shoveled the front, I shoveled my neighbors in the front, I shoveled my father-in-law's house, I shoveled my grandmother-in-law's house, I shoveled everywhere else, nobody else got fined. Just my back sidewalk that,
just that one section.
yeah.
Well, we appreciate that you're shoveling so much. I'm doing somewhat the same this winter. But I really don't see how we can let you off on this because it obviously wasn't shoveled. It wasn't that you made an effort and then it got covered up or that, I don't know, you obviously, it wasn't. And the way we go after some sidewalks is we usually get a complaint about the sidewalks that aren't covered or aren't shoveled. And we have had a lot of weird snow this year, especially we've had this week has been horrendous. I mean, it snows
Yeah.
just enough every day for you to have to shovel.
Right.
But the rest of my board may disagree with me, but unfortunately, I think we're going to have to stick you with the $68. It does mean that the cost from our contractor was something in the neighborhood of $45, and it's 150% of the bill that we receive. That's just the way the city code reads. We don't have any leeway in that regard. So I don't know how the rest of my board feels about this. Questions or comments?
I told Sean I wasn't going to speak, but my name is Vince Foti. I'm
hi,
Sean's father-in-law. Yeah, I understand the position you're in. I know sitting on these boards can be tough, but I'm just simply going to say that, yeah, he made the mistake of not shoveling his sidewalk for, which won't happen again. But I was just hoping that in these tough COVID times when they're pretty challenging times and everybody's put in situations that they've never been put in before. And probably the best thing that's come out of this COVID thing is that, in these hard times, we tend to help each other out. I mean, help each other out a bit more during these tough times. And I would just hope that, let's not squash this young guy's spirit of helping others and by penalizing him. And it's not just an ordinary time where it is a snowfall. I mean, these are COVID times, so maybe you would consider relieving him of that responsibility. And if not, we'll take our medicine and we'll be happy to, pay the $68. But I mean, we're not disputing that it was shoveled at all. I mean, we know it wasn't shoveled. It was just a mistake. Again, I just hate to see us squash the spirit and his help others mindset by penalizing the guy for an oversight.
Well, I appreciate that. And I appreciate, Sean, that you live in town. It means a lot to us, townies, that that you've chosen to live in the city. We really appreciate that. I know you personally from being across the street. So we don't do this with any malice at all. It's just that if we allow you, during
Right.
COVID time, we got to let everybody off. And that's the hard thing about having a fiduciary responsibility to the city, that we're here to protect citizens against inaction or misplaced action by the city. But in this case, I don't think that was the case. So, but on the other hand, the rest of the board can vote however they want. I'm willing to drop by with $20 to contribute to your cause, just to say thank you for doing what you do. It means a lot. But again, it's setting a precedent. So I don't think we can help you in this regard, but I don't know. I'll stop talking and ask for a vote.
Can I ask another question, Ms.
Yeah,
Lewis?
certainly.
John, this property has not come up before. I don't ever remember seeing this address, honestly, but this isn't something that's continuous or anything like that.
Not since that shoveling. I think the first major snowstorm we had in December, I noticed that sidewalk as well. But again, I vaguely remember it because the snow was so bad. And I think even if his best attempt was made in the morning and a snow plow passed by, it's a very narrow street anyway. So maybe that's why I noticed. And this was an isolated event here. But since then, no.
So I entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we deny the appeal.
Can I have a second?
A second.
Any further discussion? Okay, we'll vote. But again, Sean, you're doing a good job, and you're working hard for your family. We don't want you to feel bad about that. It's just that under these circumstances, we're kind of stuck. So
I understand. I appreciate it. Thanks. I appreciate the time to appeal and
thank you.
shot. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, we're ready for a vote, I think.
Chair Marzak,
Yes.
Commissioner Palmer,
Yes, reluctantly, yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levinson,
No.
Commissioner Grimm.
Yes.
Passes.
Okay, thanks very much. And again, thank you, Sean, for joining us today. And unfortunately, it didn't turn out the way you wanted it, but there are many of us who admire what you're doing. So now we'll go to Michael and Maria Normoyle. You're here, Mr. Normoyle. There you are. I'll read your appeal. To whom it may concern, as an owner, we have made arrangements for a contractor, Baker of Township Road, Oneonta, to remove snow as per town regulations. DL Baker serviced the wrong house. My neighbors called me and told me nothing was done at my house. I called Baker and he said it was done. He went back to confirm and saw that the town contractors at 65 Center. Baker had them stop and he finished the work at 65 Center. I'm asking that the town see if they can reduce the fee. I wasn't ignoring the rules, but the contractor did the wrong house. I'm asking for a 50% reduction in the fees, as I tried to do all I could properly, but hired a contractor who can't read addresses. Please reach out if there are questions or comments. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that you had arrangements in place. Let's see here's the
Ooh.
property. And this again is a corner lot. There we are. There it is finished. Okay, thank you. It's your turn, Mr. Normoyle. Would you like to speak on this matter?
Well, basically, as you say, we bought the house and we want to be good neighbors to the Oneonta community. We don't want to be one of them as, yes, we are a remote landlord, so we do take, a lot of effort to go and make sure we get the right people, reliable people, word of mouth recommendations, such like that. That Dan Baker just did the wrong address. I guess that's just dumb and stupid. But, he did come back and do it. We did not, want to, I'm in environmental health and safety. Believe me, I know about slips, trips, and falls. What we want to do in our home is give the kids who go to the university a better place than what they've had. My son graduated from Oneonta in 2020, and some of the places that he stayed in, there's fire traps in, and to be honest with you, the town did a good job about, when we pointed it out that they went there and took care of it. And now I see some of these places, they're better than mine. But nonetheless, as I said, we want to do whatever we can. We have, as I said, DL Baker in place for the snow removal. We have our agent, Bill Larson, who's a resident of Oneonta. He lives up the road. So he takes care of the, the little things or whatever we get to. And we try to get up there about once a month, once every 6 weeks, make sure that, everybody's happy, the neighbors are happy, the garbage isn't, we don't want to be thought of as those out of towners who are just in our town and, yeah, we like the town. My wife loves it. And we want to continue to, work with you. And all I'm asking for, it'll never happen again. But Baker was nice enough, and I don't know if you can see it and I can really share it to you. He was nice enough to send me a bill. I don't know if I can share that very well. If you see, he wrote 55 cents on it.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just in case anyone wants to take a, so the Pennies, my next door neighbors over on Elm Street, they called me up and they said, Mike, it's 2:00. What the hell are you doing? I said, and then so I called Baker and I said, he goes, we're done. And I go, well, and I sent him the pictures that the Pennies sent me. I was like, you ain't done. And the folks, the contractors were there and they were just doing the Elm Street part of the property. And as I said, Baker came and stopped them and did the rest of the job. So I'm not looking for a free ride. But what I would like, and I understand your hands may or may not be tied, but we did everything we could. There was no intent to flaunt the law or anything like that. We made arrangements to get the local people that you require to cover it and take care of it. And they have your numbers and you have their numbers. And, we just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page and we can work together and see what you can do for me.
thank you. John, let's just to be sure, our contractor did not charge for the whole sidewalk if Mr. Baker did part of it. Apparently, it's just the Elm Street side.
Like it's just a first.
Yeah, I think the young lady sent me the information in your office, and she said, yeah, that they only did the Elm Street side, which was like 100 feet or something like that. I think in her notes, I'd have to find it.
Yeah.
Could have started
Well-
the shortest.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Baker, or Mr. Normoyle, thank you for your comments. The difficulty we have is that it seems like something you should be charging your contractor for because he didn't do the work. And you
Oh,
see in
I
this
get
bill-
you. As you well know, with the popularity of rentals in your town to the students and such like that, finding good talent or finding anyone who will actually show up is more than half the challenge. I don't mind paying them for doing it. And yeah, Baker and I have worked it out, but I told him, it's going to be dependent on how, do I give it to you or do I give it to Baker? That's basically who's going to get paid. So you hold Mr. Baker's life in your hands. I'm not one of those who says, I deserve a free ride. Somebody worked on it, someone's going to get paid. Baker screwed up, he may not get paid if I'm going to pay you. But I don't want to not pay Baker for what he, the part that he did, but you guys charge more than Baker. I mean, you don't charge more, but the way you're set up, 150% bump, makes it kind of painful.
Right. And that's why of course, we want you to make arrangements. And fortunately, from now on, Mr. Baker will know the right property.
I certainly hope so. I pardon my French, but he complains about it every time now. It's all right.
Additional questions for Mr. Normoyle? Anybody on the
Sure, ma'am.
board? What's your,
And mind you,
what-
Baker was the house before. It's not like he'd never been there. But I think he sent one of his cronies, but he wrote 55 instead of 65, and
well, how are we going to go about this, people?
I think it should be charged to the contractor. I don't think
Me
it's a
too.
responsibility.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
it's
no,
not, we did nothing
there.
wrong.
somebody's not going to eat.
Well, I'm sure he will.
I'm just trying to
There's been a lot
mitigate
of
the
work.
damages. What it is,
Yeah.
what it's going to be. It ain't going to happen again.
Thank you. Okay, well, I will make a motion to deny this appeal. Do I have a second?
Second it.
Okay, any further discussion?
Who's the bill gonna go to? It's still gonna be to the.
No,
property owner.
it's his bill. It's his bill. He's got to work out the
Just
details.
who
of
am
the
I
bill.
paying?
All right, I agree.
Okay. So, are we ready? Okay, let's vote.
Commissioner Merzick,
Yes.
Commissioner Palmer,
Yes,
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Grimm.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Normoyle. Sorry this happened. We're glad you're, consider yourself a good landlord. Keep in touch with the code enforcement office.
Well, that's the
you-
only thing I got to do. We'll see you in March for our compliance.
Yeah, okay,
So we'll be there for that.
All right.
Yeah.
great, thank you. Thank you. for
And I
being
just love
here.
that Elvis at the Garden, 72, right?
Right, thanks.
There you go.
All right,
For the smile on face. All right, so I will go out and send you the 130, whatever the heck it is. I have it somewhere lying around here. $135, I believe.
130.73.
130.73. You got to make it out to the town of Oneonta, city of Oneonta.
City of Oneonta. We're not the town. There is a town of Oneonta. We're not it.
130.73. All right, we'll stick that in the mail tomorrow morning, and you folks should have it sometime midweek. Is that okay?
Thank you. Yeah, that's great. Thanks very much.
Thank you for your time, folks.
All right.
Appreciate it. You all take care of yourselves.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the last item we have today on our regular agenda is the appeal from Mr. Michael Bean, 419 Main Street. I talked to him today, and he is not going to be at our meeting, but he's happy if we go ahead. Here's his appeal. I'm sorry, I became inflicted with spinal damage, and I had difficulty locating someone to assist me. I did the best I could with the snow, but obviously was not good enough. I'm attempting to locate assistance at this point, and I'm hoping to address this matter aggressively. Thank you. And then attached to that, we have a letter from his doctor. I'm writing this letter to confirm that Michael Bean, who gives his date of birth, is a patient currently under my care. The patient received an invoice of $60.25 because of failure to clear his sidewalk of snow. The patient's currently suffering a medical condition which would make this extremely difficult for him to do and ill-advised. Snow shoveling is something that could actually jeopardize his condition as he is awaiting an opinion regarding surgery. In light of the above, I'm appealing to the Code Enforcement Office to reconsider the decision to find Michael, who is medically not capable of performing adequate sidewalk maintenance. From Gerald Landry of UHS Primary Care, Oneonta. So again, Mr. Bean isn't here. Let's look at the photos. This is finished. There's his house, there's our contractor, and this is what he was able to do himself. And there's a finished cleared sidewalk. I am going to recuse myself from this particular decision because Mr. Bean is someone I know, and I am now shoveling his sidewalk. It's true, he's having surgery this coming Tuesday. He has a 6-month recovery period, so he's not going to be able to do this, and he is having trouble finding someone to do it. John will confirm that guy that we both know actually used a snow blower on his sidewalk a couple of times. It was really kind of him. He did it out of the goodness of his heart. But I'm going to make sure that Mr. Bean is not in this situation again. However you all decide, I think it's, I think this is one of those cases where we probably shouldn't make a decision in favor of his appeal because it would set a precedent. But on the other hand, this is a somewhat unique situation in that he did have it cleared for the big snow. In fact, I think the pictures, what are the pictures? What are the dates on the pictures?
January 4.
He was able to get it done for the big snow, but not for this dribbly kind of stuff. So what do you think, board?
Has this, John, been on before this appeal? Has this been a problem prior to this? No, I assume not, because the gentleman only just became sick.
No, we haven't shoveled it. This was the only time that our contractor did this year. And like Marge said, a contractor that was doing next door offered to do it free of charge that day.
Out of the kindness of their heart, yeah.
Yeah, and he's done it again, John, free of charge. It was very kind. Yeah.
I know the city's standing is that we don't waive things as we did. The city did not make any errors here. The gentleman did not shovel. However, I'm going to ask to make a motion to waive the fees this one time on this home, just because of this extra special circumstances that this poor gentleman's going through. I know it's only $62, but it's $62 that he's already in pain and suffering and figuring out his life, and God knows what can happen going forward with surgery. So that's even though the city has made no errors and it obviously was not shoveled well, it looks like there was somewhat of a process done. And so I'm gonna make that motion.
The attempt was made, that's for sure. I'll second your motion, Dana. This is a one-time situation, and I'm going to second your motion.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Okay, let's vote.
Chair Murzick,
Abstain.
Commissioner Palmer,
What am I? I'm voting
for the motion that I put forward to waive it one time.
Exactly. That's exactly what I want to do.
So that is a yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Grimm,
yes,
it passes.
Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you. I do think this is an unusual circumstance, and there was an effort made to clear the sidewalk. It
Yeah,
just, it's on
definitely.
Main Street. It wasn't.
Like I ignored it.
Probably. So that's all we have for today. I'm looking for an update from code enforcement. Is there anything we should be aware of, looking forward to?
Just the fact that we've got 2 more snow removals, 50+ properties each. This one that was done today is probably going to be less than 50, probably more like in the 30s, but you know, we're finding problems. And we're gonna get appeals. We've already gotten calls saying we're gonna appeal. We looked at the photos. Obviously, we would deny it. That's why it goes to the board.
Okay. Are there any other? Yes, go ahead, Dana.
I had a question about Penny Trimble's property that we had said we would look at again. That's the one where we had the issue with the tenant and the cleaning up things and making things better. Where do we stand with that? Are we going to lift the order or?
Yeah, have you been back to 8?
I have not re-inspected that property. I've driven by a couple of times. Trash situation, at least in the front of the building that you can see from the road. I wouldn't say it's any worse than it has been. Like I said, the last time I was in there, I can't say as a code official that it's unsafe. I have guidelines I have to meet, and they weren't there. You know, the situation can change from week to week, and I would probably have to get in to do another inspection to see what the conditions are like. And of course, you know, usually when I try to schedule something with her, I'll ask for the inspection within a couple of days, and I usually get in, say, within a week or a week and a half.
So how do you feel, board? Do you want to let it keep the unsafe on it for 1 more month, so John has a chance to really inspect the property, or shall we lift it and see where we are from there?
I think we ought to keep it on for another month. What do you think? As long as John hasn't had a chance to finish his inspection.
Well, the last time he was there, the basement was no longer sleeping quarters, right? John, you had
That's
said.
right. I do remember that now, yeah.
Everything was cleaned up as far as everything but the garbage outside. And the garbage outside really, at that point, because the owner couldn't get in, I mean, she let us in, but the owner apparently couldn't get in. The garbage is really the landlord's responsibility at that point, not, I mean, it is the tenant that's creating the mess, but it's her property. So at that point, we should be fining the property owner for not getting it cleaned up at this point, not the tenant, if I'm reading code correctly. And Marjorie, correct me if I'm incorrect. But.
No, you're correct.
So I understand why we did it, because there was, you know, egress issues and there was, you know, capacity issues in the building. But if they've been cleaned up, then technically they're within compliance of code.
Correct.
The tenant was in compliance, right?
Correct.
Right. I see that.
I mean,
John,
sorry.
what would your recommendation be at this point?
I probably want to get in 1 more time just to make sure she's maintaining it. And then I can confidently say, you know, I went in last week, everything's fine. She's maintained the property. You know, if something has changed, then I'll report to you that it's an unsafe condition again.
Okay, and then that's fine, John, I appreciate that. What's the process, Marge, if we no longer say that it is
Well, we just notified the property owner that it's no longer unsafe and that they can legitimately occupy the building, which of course that's not what she wants, because she wants to be able to evict these tenants because they're so unreliable
She can't
in
really-
terms of whether they keep it safe or unsafe.
Right.
But that's really her problem. And I
Right.
think
Not
we have,
always.
I mean, I agree with you, Dana, but I also don't want to act precipitously until we're sure. And
Absolutely.
so, so I'd like to wait another month. In fact, well, I may put this on under old business, a review. And so it's officially on, and then Mrs. Trimble can,
So we're gonna wait and see for one more month.
And then how does it work as far as, and I apologize because I only know so much of the code. I'm trying to learn it all, March. But how does it work as far as if we no longer say that this is an issue, but yet there's still a garbage issue, they then get notified that they meaning Penny, would get notified that they need to clean up the garbage outside and then start getting fined otherwise, I assume.
well, we clean it up and then we bill her. So
We do-
that's, I mean, if
we
it's
bill-
not, if there continues to be a garbage issue, you're right, that doesn't make it, unless it's egress or fire safety or there's, you know, it is encouraging rodents. There are other considerations, but if that's not the case, then it's really her job to get the garbage cleaned up on a regular basis. And that's something that she's just going to have to make arrangements to do once we lift the unsafe.
Okay, thank you.
So, and let me stop for just a second. Pam, you're probably wondering, what in the world are they all talking about? And this is kind of an old chestnut. It is one of the challenges we face when, if you look at the section of the code on unsafe, you'll see that there are some well-defined, but also somewhat murky reasons for declaring a property unsafe. It's mostly health and safety issues. And then the question comes, when do we lift the unsafe? So we have removed the order that it be vacated or that it be repaired or whatever. I mean, in this case, we ordered it repaired and it has been repaired, but it hasn't been vacated. So this is just something that we have ahead of us, but it is a ongoing issue because the state is refusing to honor evictions during COVID. And there are people who probably need to be evicted. And this woman, the resident of the property, probably needs to be, but it's not really our job. And unsafe sometimes helps us toward that. So that's sort of where we are.
That we've ever done. As far as I've ever sat on the board, you know, or even when I was council person, I don't think we've ever reversed one ever.
We have. It's just been a while because we have the reasons we declare things unsafe are two reasons, one of which is that the property owner wants it to be unsafe.
Right.
And that's usually because they want to tear down a garage, or they want to somehow make arrangements to do something where they don't have to go through the planning board, and that's okay with us. Or it's unsafe and it continues to be unsafe. Well, the repairs have not been made. So that's, you know, we're in
Garage
that.
stuff I remember, but the actual, like an apartment or a house actually coming off.
6971 Spruce.
Say it again, Steve.
6971 Spruce, the fraternity house on Spruce Street.
Oh, yeah,
That was an unsafe that
we did fix, that's right.
unsafe conditions were corrected, and subsequently they just corrected all the issues of the property.
That's right.
Right. So we do it. We just, unfortunately, we don't do it too often. I mean, that's the problem. Okay, so we'll put that on for next meeting. We'll put Mr. Snyder on for our next meeting. Now I have a little announcement to make. I am not going to be here the first Thursday in March. So we have two choices. We could meet the following Thursday, if that would be convenient for people. Someone else could serve as chairman that day. We're going to have a lot of snow appeals, so that's something to be challenged with. I'm happy to wait for a week if you are amenable to that, and then I'll be back and I'll get all the material to you as usual. I think that's what I would recommend only because, unless somebody wants to raise their hand and say, I'll be happy to be chair for a day, and I'll get all the material to you in the meantime. So what do you think?
We have to delay. I think we should delay till you get back.
Okay, so it's going to be, let's see, that's the 4th, so it'll be the 11th of March,
Okay.
That's
if it's okay with you.
right? That's okay with Carrie and everything. It doesn't interfere with anything.
Yeah, just, is there another meeting that night?
No other meetings. You're all set. I'll be there.
All right.
as well.
So with your permission, I'd like to put it off until March 11th, and then we'll, if there's nothing, no other business before the board. Well, yes, Mark, I hear you, Mark. Thanks for raising your hand.
Yeah, hey, so first I want to apologize to the board for my late arrival. I was in the wrong zip code, but I'll catch up. But I want to follow up, if I could, Marge, on the 50 East Street that we had talked about last month, apartment 1, where they had plugged into somebody else's electric, and they were looking to vacate,
Oh, right.
repair within 30 days, and we're just a couple of days short of that 30 days. So I wonder where we might be with that.
Those tenants have not vacated.
They have not vacated.
No,
So then obviously repairs have not been done.
not to our knowledge.
And they're still most likely jumping somebody else's electric.
I have not been inside the building to verify that, but yeah, I would assume they haven't moved out, and we haven't been told that they have any other sort of electricity.
I thought NYSEG had taken care of that.
I mean, NYSEG turned the power off, but I don't think they've turned the additional like house power off.
Because you have another apartment there.
Yeah, there's other meters there.
Three other apartments.
Right. And they're jumping, they locked onto and are stealing the power from like a smoke detector system. Is that right? If I remember?
Yeah, it's not like a house meter. It's like a public.
Isn't that something we can go in and disconnect with the approval of the property owner?
Yeah, so the problem is the property owner can't even get into the unit right now.
Well, not the unit, but they could get into the basement.
So this is in the unit itself.
Oh, it is?
Actually, right at this time, the Howard Trask is the sole agent, and he contacted me about getting a licensed electrician so he could do the smoke inspection, smoke detector inspection, which they need to have done anyway. And he, shoot, I can't think of who he got, but I haven't heard yet how they made out, if they got in or, I mean, they're probably going to try, but that's, that's just a start. So.
Well, that means they haven't made any compliance within the 30 days.
Yeah.
Is this a police matter?
Yeah, the next step would be the police would have to ticket. We could issue tickets. It's the same kind of thing. It's being held up by COVID. They can't get them evicted.
So Monday would be, by my math, the 31st day on a 30-day order.
Right.
Yeah, we just could write them a ticket for violating the vacate order.
Well, let's plan on doing that.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for reminding us on that. Okay, anything else?
Nope.
Steve, Joe, John?
Dana.
Okay, thanks for being with us. Welcome to our meeting, Pam, and we'll see you next month.
Marge.
Yes?
Nobody introduced her, the new Pam?
Oh, sorry.
Not that I know of anyway. I just all of a sudden heard you say Pam.
Yes, okay. This is Pam Grimm. She's our new board member, was appointed in January. She lives on the same block as Madeline.
Hi, Pam.
Hi.
So you two can know each other. Madeline lives at the other end
If
of
the
the
weather
street,
gets better, we will.
Yeah.
right? And I've given her one of our handbooks. And I'm sure after this meeting, she may have some questions. She has my email address, so she can shoot me some emails, or the clerk, or Feel free to get in touch with the code enforcement office folks and they'll answer any questions you have.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, everybody, thanks very much for being with us today
Bye.
and for
Have
your,
a good night.
all right, thanks, bye.
Good night.
Right.